Hey everybody, how's it going? Mike from the Focus Garage here, and today I'm making a video that I never thought I was going to have to make. Now, I'm not usually one to kind of talk bad about any kind of company or share a negative experience unless it's really gone to that point to where I don't want anybody else to have to suffer with what I went through. So after dealing with this company and their product for almost 3 months, I need to make this video just to get out there my personal experience and to share that with you guys, just so that way some of you don't make the same mistake. Now, as some of you may have already seen in earlier videos, when I bought this Corvette Grand Sport, it was a very, very loud exhaust. What I wanted to do was install a factory NPP dual mode exhaust that has basically the valves that open and close depending on a switch or, throttle position. So I went up to Appleton, Wisconsin. I picked up a NPP axle back, and then that same day, now here we go, we're going to establish a timeline for you guys here. I'm going to pop it up here. On July 19th, I purchased something called NPP in a box through RPI Designs. Now, the reason I bought this and not just a mild to wild controller is because my car did not come factory with the NPP dual mode exhaust. So it didn't have the vacuum line that it needed to operate the exhaust or the electronic solenoid. So I bought this NPP in a box kit because from what I could see online, this kit would allow me to pretty much plug and play, run this dual mode exhaust on the car. I placed the order on 7/19, and I waited a little bit. Didn't really hear anything by later in the week. So on 7/23, I called twice. 7/24, I called again and also opened a case on PayPal just to kind of, get them responding back to me. I wasn't filing for a refund or anything. I was just filing a case that I haven't heard from the seller. I haven't gotten tracking information. I've called a couple times and I haven't heard anything. 7/27 comes. I email myself outside of PayPal 2 different email addresses I was able to find on their invoice and on their website. Nothing. 7:30 comes. They finally just refund me, and that's it. I had never heard from anybody. Nobody emailed me back. Nobody called me. Nobody responded to my voicemails. Nothing. So from 7:19 to 7:30, I was reaching out to this company probably 10 or so times. Never heard anything from anyone, and they just refunded me through the PayPal case. Cool. No big deal. So I'm looking around online for other people that sell this NPP in a box kit, and I find this company called Southern Car Parts. So the same day that I get my refund from RPI Designs, I go ahead and I order through Southern Car Parts. Remember this little piece of information here. I later find out that Southern Car Parts is the exact same company as RPI Designs. They just have 2 different websites operating as 2 different companies, but they are the exact same business with the same phone numbers and same support email addresses and everything like that. So 7:30, I get my refund. 7:30, I place the order through Southern Car Parts. Now, this was a perfectly normal transaction. It shipped within a day or two, took a couple days to get to me, and by 8:10, I had the unit. So everything was pretty much normal there. No calling necessary, no claims necessary, no emailing necessary. Placed the order, shipped normally, arrived to me. On August 18th, this is the day that I go to install the module. Now, I will let you know that I didn't install this module myself. I paid a shop to do it, and it was a really good experience because I don't have access to a lift at my house. I heard putting those big mufflers up into the car could be hard, so I didn't want to roll around on the ground and do it there. So I paid shop prices to get an axle back installed and to have this module installed. You have to run a vacuum line from the back of the intake manifold to a control box in the trunk, which is the NPP in a box, and then out of that box, you'll run the vacuum line to the mufflers. And you also have to wire something very simple, just a power and a ground. So in the factory side footwell, you'll peel back a panel. There's a add a fuse that goes in there, and then you, again, run that wiring to the back of the trunk near the battery cubby, which is where the module will sit, which will operate the exhaust. So the shop installs the axle back, they install the module, and we're doing our testing. And guess what? The exhaust is open all the time. And on this little remote clicker fob that you've got here, that to open and close it, it's not doing anything. We're like, what the heck? So we call, and lo and behold, we actually get a hold of somebody the first try here. And it's somebody there, kind of like a technical support. And they start telling us what to check. So the shop go ahead and they check everything. They check the power, they check the ground, they check that the vacuum line's going into the box, and they find that there's vacuum going into the box, but nothing coming out. So we call back the support number, and we're told by the company that, yeah, we've had a few defective modules. This might be one of them. Why don't you let us know your information, and we'll go ahead and we'll get another one sent out to you. Great. The problem with that is I just spent another hour of shop labor for them to diagnose all of their work that they had just done because they wanted to make sure that what they installed wasn't the problem and that it was the box. When I brought this up to the attention of Southern Car Parts and RPI Design, they gave me some runaround excuse of, oh, well, we can't reimburse you for that extra labor because we don't really produce the units, we just sell them, blah, 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 blah. And whatever, at this point, I'm like, fine, just send me another module and we'll go ahead and I'll install it myself this time. Now this, again, was on August 18th, 8/18. I wait a while, nothing shows up in the mail. On 9/4, I finally decide to call them. Where's my unit? I call them 7 times that day, leaving voicemails, just calling again and again and again. Never got through to anybody. I don't know what kind of business is open and you can contact them 7 times throughout a day and not get a response, but that happened here. On 9/8, the next day, I randomly just got an email with a return label. No instructions, not telling me what to do, not saying anything about the status of my new unit that's on the way to me. I just got a return label. So I responded to that return label saying, hey, I just wanted to see what's going on here with the unit that you guys said you were going to ship me almost 15 plus days ago now. What's going on with that? No response. I call on the 9th, and after the 3rd try, I finally get a hold of somebody on 9/9, and I speak to somebody who said, well, we can't send you a new unit till you send back your old one. Which again, very, very standard and normal with car parts. But the problem with this is that where the unit is located is in a not so easy to access area. And while I'm waiting for a unit, I would either have to plug the vacuum line or, just not drive the car while I wait for that new unit. So I tell them, hey, I want to make sure that we can expedite this as quickly as possible. If I send it back today and I prove that there's movement on the tracking info, will you send me one right away? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. So literally on my lunch break that day, in a matter of an hour, I rip the unit out of the car, package it up, and ship it right away with the provided tracking label they gave me. And I called them to say, hey, there's movement on it. Will you send me out another one? They said, yes, we'll get it out by the end of the day. This, again, was 9/9. Didn't hear anything. Didn't get an email, no tracking information, nothing. On 9/11, I call 3 times only to find out that, yeah, we'll probably ship that unit later today, but we can't make any promises. On 9/15, the new unit finally shows up. I'm like, okay, great, whatever. We're literally a month now from almost when we first got this installed and it wasn't working. I finally sent it back and I got another one. Let's install this and see what happens. So on 9/15, I go through the effort of pulling the battery, which on these wide body cars is not the easiest thing because it's a very, very tight space back there. So I install it, everything like that, and it's not a plug that you have to plug and play. You actually have to splice wiring 2 connections for the power and the ground. And the slack in which they gave me kind of feel like it came undone as I installed the module. So I put the module in, everything like that. I go for a test drive, and wouldn't you know, nothing. Still not working. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. So at this point, I wasn't sure if my wiring came undone or if the unit wasn't working. So again, I don't want to deal with it. I wait a couple of days. On 9/19, I finally go back to it and pull it all out, and I leave it on top of the battery cubby to the point where I can kind of see what's going on. And I literally hardwire the unit, power and ground, like twist the connections together just to see if this makes any difference whatsoever. And wouldn't you know it, we're still stuck in loud mode all the time. The opening and close on the remote does absolutely nothing, and it's still not working. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is absolutely insane. You sent me another defective unit? I wasn't even contacting them at this point. I just wanted to file a credit card chargeback and be done with it. But, I sat on it. I drove the car for a little bit because I was just done with it. A couple days, a couple weeks go by. And on 10/6, I finally decided to give it the benefit of the doubt to diagnose stuff that I shouldn't even be diagnosing as the end user here. And I open up the unit and I check it all out here. And it's very, very simple. I mean, there's just a radio transmitter box inside this unit here that sends a signal to the remote control, open and close. There's a little vacuum solenoid, and that sends the vacuum to the muffler, and that's it. So whether it's open or closed, on or off, it sends the signal to the vacuum solenoid, which in turn opens and closes your exhaust. It's very, very simple. I decide for craps and giggles here just to open up the vacuum solenoid, and all I did is, it's just like a small metal washer and like a little diaphragm inside of there. I flipped the diaphragm upside down, and I put everything back together, and wouldn't you know it, that fixed it. They sent me a module that was put together wrong. Now, I'm not sure, however they source these parts, if they're built in-house, or if this module is just ordered and they put it all together there with that solenoid. I'm not entirely sure, but you would really think that they would bench test these units that are going out to people. This is a $200 thing that didn't work twice out of the box here, that I was literally about to just throw it away and return it and file a chargeback and be done with it, because when I first ordered this unit, I thought that RPI Designs / Southern Car Parts, the MPP in a box, was my only option. But if you are trying to install a dual mode exhaust on a car that didn't come with it, just use the Billy Boat dual mode exhaust controller. B&B exhaust, it will work just the same. Do not buy this part, because it will cause nothing but headaches from a company that does not want to respond to you and does not value any type of customer service. So that was on 10/6. Today is now, I don't know, the end of October. It's like the 25th or the 26th, and it's been working flawlessly since. All I had to do was open up that solenoid, flip over this little diaphragm, and it's been fine ever since. Was that the problem in the first exhaust box there, where I just didn't look? I don't know. It shouldn't be up to me to figure that out. This should be something that works out of the box, that is bench tested. I can't believe that one of the few times I paid a shop to install something on my car, it didn't work, and I got stuck with that extra hour of labor, to which this company didn't care about. They were the hardest company to get a hold of ever. I'm going to attach some screenshots here, just scrolling through and showing all of the different times that I tried to call this company, of just leaving voicemails and being put on hold, and it ringing and it ringing and it ringing. This was just an all-around awful experience that I don't want anybody else to go through. If you look up RPI Designs or Southern Car Parts on Facebook reviews or Google reviews, you'll see a lot of the same thing, where it's, oh, I placed an order, a month has gone by, I haven't heard anything. Oh, they said it was going to ship, but it still hasn't shipped yet. It just looks like they don't have their logistics side of things figured out very well, and things take a long time to happen there. In an age like this, where you have so many different companies to choose from, and where customer service is valued so highly, it just doesn't make sense for me to give your business to a company like that. So if you are considering any parts from RPI Designs or Southern Car Parts, think about it. Is it really worth the headache that I went through? If you've dealt with this company before, drop it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your experience. Maybe you had a great experience and you can prove me wrong. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But that's going to be it for this one. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.